Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 22 of our 10th free Get Up and Go Challenge, December 2021. We are talking about our physical health, the physical area and aspect of our life. We picked an action yesterday and we took that action. And today we are going to talk about the P in our SOAP framework, which is our progress. Are we making progress? So we've talked about our story, where we are versus where we want to be. We've talked about different options and possibilities. We've talked about picking among alternatives and taking action and acting immediately on one of those. And today we're going to talk about, well, how do I know? How do I know if I am moving toward what I want? How do I know if I'm filling that gap? And one of the tools that I like to use when I'm using the SOAP framework is measurement. I like to measure things. So I like to think of a way to measure and collect data and track if I'm making progress or not. Let's see, when was this? This was the October, just the last challenge for financial. I did $10,000 was my goal. And so I made like a little thermometer like you see in fundraising things to track and keep track of as I was moving my way up toward my goal. So that's a way to measure. Another way to measure, and what I'm going to do, I already decided what I'm going to do for this particular one for sleep. We want to know, are we moving toward it or not? And so we can come up with traditional ways of measuring something, or we can create our own, right? I've created a lot of my own ways of measuring things, especially things that are subjective and hard to measure. So I want to know if I'm making progress, and then I want to know, how do I make progress automatic and start to gain some momentum and start to have things happening without me consciously being aware of them all the time. So for a while, I'll track and measure this. And as long as I'm putting processes and systems in place to automatically get the results that I want, then I'm not going to worry about it. I think I talked about some of the options yesterday or the day before. Were like scheduling my sleep, making sure that I have no interruptions during certain periods of time, etc. So I'll explore other options as I want to add more systems and make things more automatic. But what I picked was sleep for yesterday, and my action was to do a meditation before bed. Now I did that, and I think I fell asleep right away. I fell asleep before it was over. So I think that that's a good strategy to get me to fall asleep quickly at night. And if I fall asleep quickly, then I'm more likely to sleep longer before I'm interrupted right now without making any other changes. Well, how do I know? Well, I'm going to measure, and I decided a couple of things. I'm going to measure total number of hours I sleep in a night, and then I'm also just going to count interruptions and then I'm going to maybe list what the interruptions were. So for example, last night I slept a total of 7.5 hours, but I had 3 interruptions. One of those was an hour and a half hanging out with the baby. So, because she wanted to play, she didn't want to go back to sleep. So sometimes it's 20 minutes, sometimes it's 10 minutes or 15 minutes, usually 20 to 40 minutes, sometimes 45, sometimes an hour. Last night, an hour and a half. But then I had to get up and go to the bathroom, and the dogs barked and woke me up. So that interrupted my sleep, and I had to get back to sleep again. But the only significant amount of time was when I went up with the baby. So if I were to subtract that, I got, an hour and a half off of 7.5 is 6 hours sleep for yesterday. And I'll just track this for a week or so and see if I'm in the right range. And if I'm up around a net of 6 to 7 hours a night, then I won't make a ton of changes, but I will continue to monitor and keep track of how can I minimize some of these interruptions, things like that. So our action item today is to think of a way to measure so we know if we're making progress or not from where we are to where we want to be in this physical area or aspect of our life. So physically, say you want to lose weight. You could just weigh yourself on the scale on some frequency. Maybe I haven't had a scale since probably 2011 because I found it a negative impact to me. So I just stopped weighing myself. So I weigh myself when I go to the doctor once a year and see the cardiologist, which is probably not the smartest thing, but it works for me. I go more on, do my clothes fit me or not? Right now they don't. COVID's been hard on me. So they do, but some of them don't. And I want all of them to fit, right? So that's how I gauge it. But each of us are different. We can decide how we're going to measure the different areas and aspects of our life. If I'm working on energy or hydration or nutrition or fuel, what I feed myself, we can find different ways to measure it. Maybe you want to count calories. I counted calories for years. Don't want to do it anymore. Maybe you want to track your supplements. I've tracked supplements and what I've taken for years. Track your hydration, track your water. You know, you decide how you're going to measure it. And our action item today is to share that in the comments below. So I shared how I'm going to measure it. I'm going to measure total hours of sleep a night, number of interruptions. And I'm just going to count them. And if I know how long it's been, I'll make a note of that. I'm not going to do that till the next morning. So if I forget, I forget. It's just to get a ballpark feeling for how many interruptions. And I'll graph over time and see if I can't find ways to sleep more consistently when I'm sleeping and reduce interruptions. And, you know, total hours of sleep, if I find I'm only getting 4 or 5, it means I got to move my bedtime or move my wake up time. I have to make other changes to my process. I hope this was clear. Physical progress. How do we know if we're moving toward what we want? Find a way to measure it. You come up with the measure. Action items, share the measure in the comments below. Just what you're going to measure or how you're going to measure it, right? I'm going to measure, use the scale. I'm going to weigh myself, or use number of hours of exercise per day, or track your exercise, or whatever it is for you. Just share that in the comments below, and I will be with you tomorrow. And we're going to hop into doing the entire SOAP framework, all four, for an area or aspect of our life. If you've got one that you want to hear next, hit me up and let me know. Otherwise, I will just pick one. We've got mental, emotional, spiritual, contribution, communication, and confidence left. We've got those 6 areas that we're going to still cover. And each day over the next 6 days, we're going to cover one of them. We're going to go through the entire SOAP framework. We're going to start speeding up the process of how we do these 4 steps and just start to, through repetition and applying them to different areas of our life, make them automatic. Put them in our subconscious through repetition and make it an automatic process for us going forward. So, I guess strap on your seatbelts because we're going to go a lot faster. I will actually set my timer starting tomorrow because I noticed I've gone on over 10 minutes for a couple of days. And I want to try to keep it to 10 minutes just to honor us, especially since this is Christmas week, right? Christmas Eve is in a couple days, Christmas Day, and I know we would get busy, but we can all still find 10 minutes. All right, any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow.